All right, there we go. Everyone stand and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Glad you could make it here to the supervisors portion of the 2022 short course. I'm going to try and share my screen here. I just have a brief intro of Matt, and because we have had some changes in the office, and just kind of familiarize yourself too. Maybe you're not as seasoned of a supervisor, and as far as knowing all what Matt can do and so forth, do a little overview of that. But my main point today is to do a legislative update, let you know what's happening at the Capitol. So let me go ahead and share that. Let's see. Hopefully this works. Good. Minnesota Association of Townships. Obviously, I'm Jeff Krueger. I'm your executive director. At the end of this month will be the end of my first full year with the association. Just want to go down the list of my staff members that are here. We have Steve Fensky, general counsel, Carl Christian Johannesson, staff attorney, Jesse Peterson, who was our finance assistant, is now our finance director. Heather Titmore is new. She's been with us. Actually, yesterday was her 1 month anniversary with us, and you'll see her in a little bit. Agency operations manager. John Zimmerman is our underwriting assistant. Sarah Turek is agency assistant, another new face. She started a couple months ago. Alex Pendergast is our communications coordinator. She's one who will be doing our website, our magazine, any communications to you as officers, and also our events as well, event planning. Sherry Elleris is our receptionist. Lori Stalker is our training coordinator. And of course, our trainers are Petra Hartness, Nicole Schluter, and David Frame. Matt's mission. It's always a good thing. I always think to go over what our mission is, because we have to keep the mission of our organization in sight and all the things that we do. But it's just important to promote the township form of local government in Minnesota through educational programs, structured advocacy, vital collaboration, and procurement of critical resources fundamental to local governments. What does that all mean? Essentially, our biggest job here with the association is to, one, educate you and tell you or instruct you and answer any questions that you might have regarding government and things that are going on in your particular locale. Also, advocacy at the state capitol. In fact, I'll be spending a lot of time this week at the Capitol. I have two times today and tomorrow that I'll be testifying on your behalf. Also, we have our insurance trust, as most of you know, and that's the part where Heather would come into play. But we do have 1,780 townships in the state of Minnesota. 1,779 of them are members of the association. Township board typically involves a clerk, treasurer. Sometimes that could be a combined role, 3 to 5 supervisors, but we have over 9,000 officers in the state of Minnesota. And I didn't mention it before, but for those of you who may not know, I'm also a township officer in Newmarket and Scott County, and I've been a township supervisor for almost 4 years now. We have approximately 55,000 miles of roads, which, as we all know, can always be a challenge, and what we're trying to get funding for state funding, anyways. And but it's more than any other road authority in the state. And of course, we represent over 900,000 Minnesotans who live in townships. Matt is divided up into 13 districts, and each director is elected from one from each of those districts, and to a 3-year term. And lower than that, I should say lower than that, but along with that, we also have our county units, which a lot of you officers probably belong to and go to. I hope you do anyways. If you're not meeting on a regular basis, I would encourage you to pick that back up. Talk to whoever your county unit chair is, or fellow supervisors in your area, and get more involved with that, because we're going to need you. and especially with advocacy. And I know that's one thing I've been touting the last year, of my stint here as executive director, is that we need to get more supervisors, more officers that are contacting their representatives, letting them know what we need, what we want. And in fact, we just put out a constant contact yesterday, and I hope all of you had seen that, and I hope all of you had engaged with it and sent out emails to your representatives. It's going to go a long way. And for us at the Capitol, like I said, this week I'm testifying 5 times, and all that stuff does help. Regarding that, and I'll get into that in my legislative update here in a little bit. I already talked about the county units, but directors do represent you at the state level. We want to make sure that your voice is heard. LNR, Legislative and Research Committee, where we can come up with resolutions. Usually those do start at the county level, and then go to our LNR. They talk about it and see whether or not they want to make that part of our legislative agenda. So those are good things for you to keep in mind. If anything's happening, talk to your fellow supervisors at your county unit and see if it's happening more often with more of them. Maybe that's something we need to address at the state level. And oops, now I need to go back to my other slide. If I can figure that out. Here we go. No. All right, on to the legislative update. As you know, I am one of your lobbyists. Steve Fensky is also one of our lead lobbyists, and we do hire Frederickson and Byron as our outside lobbyists. Shep Harris is our dedicated lobbyist for this. He has been working extremely hard at and getting me acclimated to the process of being at the state legislature, which is not an easy process. It's not a 2-day learning curve, as I quickly found out, but it has been good. Legislators are finally realizing that if they have any questions with the townships, they should be coming to me and asking me questions about it. And so I'm enjoying those dialogues, and so that we can help you not just at the state level, but also at the national level as well. One of the things that, just so you know, Planning and Zoning Authority, we had to do some cleanup. And in Senate file, and SF stands for Senate file, HF stands for House file. So SF 3016 and HF 3175 are basically cleanup bills, is what we're calling it. There's some redundant language in chapters 366, which some of you may know is really what gives town boards their authority, and along with chapter 462. And so there's a lot of similarities in there. So essentially what we had asked for, and we just found out yesterday that these bills did pass, and it's on its way to the governor's desk, and he'll be signing that. And it's a nonpartisan, very easy lift kind of deal, but it repealed specific sections in chapter 366 that was identical to sections in chapter 462. That dealt with planning and authority, and but your authority as townships will not change in any way. It's just where you get that information from is all it is. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat, and so I'll try and answer that after I'm done here. The second thing that we're doing is LRIP. In fact, I'm speaking about that this morning at 10:30, I believe. And SF 2647 and HF 3216. Some of you may know Local Road Improvement Plan, or LRIP, as it's otherwise known, is it's a program that the state funds periodically. It's not every year an annual thing. Last year they funded it by the tune of about $80 million. And in our township, or our townships, we had sent in about 185 applications out of 425 that were sent in total. So more than any other local government, more in small cities, large cities, or counties. And I think we got about 15 of those 184 or whatever that were actually funded. What we had realized is that we do not have representation on that board that determines who gets those grants. The LRIP plan. We initially were asking for 2 representatives, and what it's made up of that advisory board right now has 5 members. It has 2 from the county, meaning 1 county engineer, 1 county commissioner. It has 3 from the cities. It has 1 city engineer, one city representative from the large cities, one city representative from the small cities. And so we were asking for two. When we talked to AMC, which is the Counties Association, LMC, the Cities Association, and small cities, we did get a lot of pushback regarding two. So we did have an amendment put on this. This is where you see the HF 3216A, where we put it down to, instead of two representatives, we're asking for one representative on the advisory board. These are not the people that determine exactly this is where it's going to go to. They are strictly an advisory board. They advise MnDOT where they think it should go. MnDOT still has the final say. Tow truck weight exemption, I did testify on this about a month ago or so regarding basically what this is that currently in state law, anytime a tow truck goes out and recovers a disabled vehicle during our weight restriction time, which is usually in the spring, as you all know, they are technically in violation of state law. And so this is also some cleanup language regarding that, just so that tow truck drivers didn't feel like they're going to be put in jail when they were doing their duty when a sheriff's department or whoever, local authority, would call them in to get a disabled vehicle. Even though we had a neutral stance on this, meaning that we're not going to give any pushback to it, some of you may know that it seems like every year there's always some other type of weight exemption that's given out there. So that was very concerning to us. And so I made it clear during the Transportation Committee hearing that yes, although we don't have any pushback on this particular bill, and we do understand that it makes sense to have this weight exemption for tow trucks, but the state legislature still is not properly funding township roads. And to have more and more weight exemptions and no funding to repair the roads that these weight exemptions cause and damage just is, again, unfair mandate, unfair, unfunded mandate. So I made that clear to them, but we're making some headway with transportation, which I'll get into a little bit here too. Annexation, we have a couple of bills out here. Some of you know that we had asked a lot of the county units to approve resolutions for SF 1969, also a road reversion resolution of 1949, both Senator Kiffmeyer bills. And annexation is an annexation bill where basically it gives the property owners in whatever segment of area that is targeted to be annexed a vote, and whether or not they want to be part of the township or part of the city. Majority vote of that area would then determine what where they're going to go. If it fails, and of course this is just a bill right now, it has not been passed, but if it fails, then that same area cannot be targeted again for 2 years. And so it just makes the cities have to get their ducks in a row. The one that I'm real interested in is Senate File 1927, and which is chief authored by Senator Bruce Anderson. In this bill, this one makes it essentially mandatory that cities and townships, in order for any property to be annexed, it has to be done through an orderly annexation process, and can't be done by annexation by ordinance, and which is what is the big sticking point with a lot of us when they just take land without payment, sometimes without even notice, and just because it has a little finger touch to the city borders right at that point. So we're trying to prohibit that, and but we also want to include a detachment policy as well to stop the land grabs. And so if the city is not actually going to develop this property and they're just taking it just to build up their coffers, after a certain length of time, I want to stress 5 years. It does take time for development to occur. We do understand that, but I would like after 5 years, if development does not happen, and if the landowner does want to come back to the township, they can definitely do so. And I feel that that's the way it should be. Road funding, this is what we're all concerned about, right? Here too, there are two different bills, Senator Jeff Howe bill and Senator Scott Newman bill. Senate File 3086, Senators Jeff Howe's bill, basically takes, this is what we tried in the past, and this was taking auto parts sales tax and dedicating some of that or a certain percentage of that to township roads. And then there'd be another portion that'd be dedicated to small city roads, because small cities don't get any funding either. And so we're kind of working together as in a joint partnership with small cities. And this has got some legs, and I've testified a few times on this, and definitely had some positive feedback from that. Not so positive movement from the House side, but from the Senate side, they're definitely available or up for this. What it would do is it would dedicate 12% of auto parts sales tax to townships, and then another 12% to cities. So what does that mean? Or small cities, not just cities, small cities. What that means in fiscal year 2023, that would, I believe, if I remember right, almost $38 million. I remember we've been asking for an additional $20 million in state funding, where right now we get nothing unless they just want to do one-time funding. That's all we do. We want dedicated, ongoing, consistent, sustainable funding. That's what this could give us. And again, it would only go up from here. So 38 million, I think, in fiscal year 23, 39 million in fiscal year 24, and I think 40.5 million in fiscal year 24 or 25. And so just let you know that we are working on that. Whether or not we get it this year or next year is still kind of up in the air, or even what percentage it turns out to be, because obviously amendments can be thrown onto these things as well. Senate File 3081 is also another road funding bill. This is from Scott Newman. This also allocates the auto parts sales taxes to the Highway User Trust Fund, or HUTDF. And what we don't like about this, I mean, we like in the fact that we do get some funding from this. I think it's a matter of about 3% would be in addition to us, versus Jeff Howe's bill that would give us 12% of the auto parts sales tax that would be dedicated to townships. So we definitely want the Senate File 3086, but both of these bills will give us some increased funding. It's just a matter of which one or what variation of either of these will it be. Another bill that just actually came up, another Senator Scott Newman's bill, SF 2579, for ditch maintenance. And this one I'm going to be testifying at, I think tomorrow is that one. But basically, this will grant, this is a one-time funding, one-time appropriation only for fiscal year 2023. And this is because of the $9 billion surplus that we currently have. And but it would grant to counties and townships repair and maintenance of ditches that are not included within a public ditch system. And most of you know that most of our big ditches, they are county ditches, or they've been given over to county for their use, because we don't have that kind of equipment. But this would bring it down to the local level that we can use to help clean up our ditches. And we don't know how much it's going to be. That part of the, if you want to look up that bill, that part of the bill is blank. And so that can be a good thing or a bad thing. But right now, we have no idea how much that money is going to be. But it will be a one-time appropriation, and will be grant-based. And so once we find out however that looks, we will definitely get that information out to you, so all townships can apply for that if you're interested in that. And that is it. I talked a long time yesterday, went beyond my time, and now I'm actually short today because I wanted to make sure I got everything in. But are there any questions? Oh, I do see some things in the chat. I'm going to stop my sharing here. Oh, my mic was fading in and out. I apologize for that. I froze too. I'm on fiber, so you wouldn't think I would have frozen. But anyways, I don't see any questions here, but I do want to, as long as Heather is here, you'll see, I don't know, on my screen, she's to my left. And but anyways, this is Heather Tidmore. She is our new agency manager of operations. And so anything you have to do with the trust, insuring your properties, your E&O, workers' comp, that type of thing, this is now the woman in charge of that. And we're very excited to have her here. Yesterday was her 1-month anniversary. We actually did hire on a temporary basis a woman by the name of Robin Sykes. She comes to us from the Association of Minnesota Counties, or actually MCIT, which is Minnesota Counties Insurance Trust, or Intergovernmental Trust.
Intergovernmental, yep.
Yep, and that's right. Don't call it insurance. And but she has 25 years plus experience in that, and so she is instrumental in walking alongside Heather for the next few months and just making sure that everything is going smoothly, and and try to do whatever we can to expand. Hopefully, and we have this origami platform that's coming out, and I don't. And Heather, if you want to make a couple of comments about that, I don't want to throw you on the spot, but
I know you've already taken everything that I was going to say. So the trust is going. This is our 20-year anniversary this year, and so we're looking at making a lot of new upgrades, rolling out, hopefully a new website, getting, everybody on board with the origami platform, like Jeff was saying, and, just really kind of making this a member-based, experience. So you guys have, really positive correlations with the way that we, use our insurance coverage for you guys. Sarah and Dawn are on my staff, and they are really just great people to work with, super friendly and very knowledgeable. Sarah is really into cauliflower. I have no idea why, but she is. And Dawn is into all things music and dogs. So if you just want to give us a call and, talk about cauliflower, music, or dogs, we are your people. And also, if you have any questions about your insurance coverage, adding coverage, adding to policies, removing from policies, let us know.
Of course, insurance coverage is second to dogs and cauliflower. And
yeah.
Obviously, I know, I understand. And I'm wondering, is Lori on the line yet? And because we can go off to Lori, unless there are other questions. I don't see any. Oh no, here it is. Will you have a link to the printable information? Excuse me. That's covered today. And that's actually Gary Burdorf. Yes, we will have we'll have the PowerPoint slides available to you. But again, if you have any questions regarding the legislative agenda that we're doing, anything that's going on, please feel free to ask us. Also, again, I want to remind you that we did send out a constant contact yesterday, asking you to email your representatives. Please do so. And I see Lori is there. Good. And there's confirmation that slides will be posted. And so please do that. It will help us tremendously. We need to get our township officers more active in the legislative process. They can hear from myself, Steve, and Shep all day long. And yes, it does good. But if they hear from 9,000 officers across the state that, hey, this is what we need: transportation funding, we need annexation reform, so forth. This is what's going to help us. And the annexation hearing that I'm going to tomorrow, that's just an informational hearing. They're not going to be acting on it. And we're trying to get that changed where they're actually going to make a vote. But unless they change it, nothing's going to happen with the annexation reform this year. And so it may be going on to next year where we're going to have to move that on to. But we need to get you guys activated and active in this process in order to move that ball across the goal line. So, Lori, that's up to you, and you can take it from here. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to attempt to share my screen.